And you're listening to Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, The Source Radio. It is Monday, and it's starting to cloud up there a little bit. It's starting to get a little cloudy, as we were mentioning, in lieu of the weather. As we said, that today has a 50% chance of some showers and thunderstorms for the afternoon. It says mainly afternoon, noon itself, 12 p.m., as mostly cloudy high near 86 today. And then that bleeds into the night with a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m., mostly cloudy with a low of 69. As being 69 degrees, it's a little bit more warmer. It's going to be a little bit more humid. Tomorrow, though, mostly sunny skies, high in the mid-80s, so fairly nice, and then clear Tuesday night. And then we get into the pattern of 20% chance of showers or thunderstorm Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in the afternoon. 20 to 30% chances of those, as we see that pretty much carry out through the weekend. And looks like that's the beginning of what we're used to when it comes to Florida summertime, with afternoon thunderstorms. As we can see ourselves, like we said, as highs in the 90s as we approach the mid-80s today and tomorrow, and then the rest of the week into the 90s, which would be good. Not too bad, right? As we said. Good show for you here, as we're going to run a little bit of what's going on with a little bit of news bits here. Little bits of news that's going around and around as it comes through the weekend. Trying to find a little bit better stuff that's got some interesting stuff to it, rather than the craziness as has been exploited within the last week. As we talked with Galen there, Life South Community Blood Centers, as he had a good weekend. Good for him, man. 23 years. I didn't ask him what the secret was to be married that long, and I think part of it he would have answered with just admitting that he's an idiot and that his wife is right. Because he said that multiple times here on the show, which is absolutely hilarious. But congrats to them, and I'm glad they enjoyed a good weekend, because, like he said, it's amazing what it takes to get through what we've been doing, and then you realize that, hey, the world's not going to end. You just need something to recharge your batteries, and that's what Florida's about. That's our draw with the tourism to this state, is the idea to get away from things a little bit and enjoy what things are there to be offered. And one of those big things is the beach. As we mentioned, what was it, last week with Mr. Jeff Gold, County Commission, one of the big things that they're pushing for Florida, of course, when we get 100% open, and what we can offer now is more of the ecotourism, what people can do outside and in the environment of Florida, with this beautiful weather and the beaches and all that stuff, and the springs, and getting an opportunity for people to realize that they have a chance to recharge their batteries and get back to nature a little bit. And with that, it's kind of crazy to think what we've gone through here with the spring. But nonetheless, hey, we're starting these phases of reopening and everything else. And as Florida businesses ready for full phase one reopening, as this one came up here, it says statewide, the governor's full phase one plan is now in effect on Monday, which means more people can go out to eat and work out. Museums and libraries can reopen on Monday, today, to 50% capacity. This half-capacity rule applies to businesses that have already been open also, like stores. 2 weeks ago, restaurants could operate 25% capacity, but on Monday, restaurants are now allowed 50% capacity. There is still no limit on outdoor seating, as long as social distancing guidelines are followed, and that is where one restaurant has shifted its focus. Even if it doesn't mean we're maxing out what we can do under capacity, that's okay. That will come with time. But let's all kind of work through this, be comfortable together, be polite, courteous to one another, and respect each other's boundaries, said Kirk Earnhardt, who owns Maxine's on Shine off Mills Avenue in Orlando. His restaurant being smaller, so even when he could reopen the quarter capacity 2 weeks ago, he chose to just keep everything outside and spacing out tables on the patio. He expanded in other ways, like adding a delivery service, and he is building so-called islands of dining in the parking lot, if you will. He said that he'll be taking things slow when it comes to dining indoors, and when he does allow it, He will be requiring people to wear masks and gloves. And like we said before, we're talking with Galen, that's the idea behind the respect to what the business wants to do with this. But it's the idea of saying, like, let's open up, but then what you want to do is up to you. As we mentioned, we are broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall. The Paddock Mall is open as we've had the adjusted hours with it, where they're now opening 11 a.m. So they're open from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. That's Monday through Saturday, and then noon to 5:30 on Sundays. But even in the case of that the mall's open, it's still up to the vendors inside in their stores what guidelines they want to implement themselves, or if they want to open and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. As there are quite a few things that all gyms will be doing because it is required by the state to reopen when it comes to the gyms and equipment facilities, is sanitizing the equipment, practicing social distancing, and keeping facilities half full. As that includes the YMCA, which is taking things a step further to keep members personal, safe. It's going to be very different to our members as they come in, said Scott Goyer with the YMCA of the Suncoast. The YMCA reopens to members Monday with lots of changes as the state's requiring gyms to operate at no more than 50% capacity in order to limit the number of members. The Y is asking patrons to reserve time to work out. Then, in between each group, they will briefly shut down the building down to sanitize multiple times through the day, plus markers on the floor will remind visitors to stay 6 feet away from other people. Patrons will see a lot of sanitizer around the gym. The state is also requiring fitness centers to offer readily available dispensers of disinfectant and cleaning materials. Now, the Y also asked its members some screening questions as they come in, as will staff will wear masks, saying, quote, "We understand the vital part of what the YMCA can do in the community is to make the a healthier place to live, and we're excited the governor recognizes that as well." It says also, patrons are being advised to check with your gym before working out to see what specific protocols that they may have in place. The full phase of one reopening of the Sunshine State comes as the new coronavirus cases, they say here, continue to climb, although as we've read before, there's a lot of articles that are kind of back and forth in the idea of whether or not it's a percentage that is deemed completely. In fact, here we go. As Disney World Union reached deal on safety protection for workers to return. As I mentioned, I got my hair cut this week, and the girl cutting my hair said something to the idea of what she's looking to do once. So now she's in full swing of work and making the money now with the tips and the overtime. And I said, well, you know what? By the time it comes to get that money and spend it, maybe everything will be back open. And one of the first places she said that she's looking forward to going to is obviously Disney World with the season passes and all that she said she has. Now, Disney World's union reached deal on safety protections for returning to work. As Walt Disney World and the coalition of unions representing thousands of its employees have reached an agreement on safety measures to protect them from the novel coronavirus when they return to work. The union announced late Thursday. As the safeguards include mandatory masks for both employees and visitors, mandatory temperature checks, social distancing practices, according to a statement from the Service Trades Council Union, which represents more than 40,000 employees at Disney World. Previously, Disney CEO said it was likely masks would be required for Disney World. And in addition, the agreement calls for clear plastic barriers at cash registers as well as touchless transactions for customers. High traffic areas will be cleaned more frequently, and additional hand washing stations will be placed across the property. Disney employees will be trained on new safety procedures. They will also have monthly safety meetings. Oh, those sound entertaining, don't they? As employees will be provided 3 masks and a thermometer upon request. Oral, not rectal. According to the union, the agreement, I just threw that in there, the agreement also includes certain protections for employees if they get sick. Disney employees who have COVID-19 symptoms can call out sick free of attendance discipline. If an employee contracts the illness, they will receive paid time off to quarantine. And according to the union statement, Disney World closed its theme parks, obviously, in mid-March to help prevent the spread of coronavirus. Speaking of that, too, I had noticed, I don't know if it was last week, but somebody had, I don't know if it was a drone or if they got in an airplane, but they were taking pictures of the Disney World theme park. Incredible photos, real professional camera, really done very, very well. And what was fascinating about it is that there's nobody there, that there hasn't been anybody there. And taking photos of a theme park that day in and day out have so many people throughout the year in attendance, that you're talking about a theme park that it looks great as everything is still well maintained and everything, but the photos of it having absolutely nobody there. It's different when you think about the park being closed to then open prior to people showing up for the day, that there's usually a bunch of people around or employees, but there's absolutely nothing, which was really, really, really fascinating and eerie pictures at the same time. But as we know, Disney World had closed its theme parks in mid-March to help the spread of the coronavirus, and the idea of some employees will soon return to work, as Disney World had announced plans to reopen part of the property to the public. Disney Springs will reopen in phases on May 20th, which is a big thing there, as everything that they have going on with the restaurants and a little bit more of something to do with the stores. Now they'll reopening in phases on May 20th with only a limited number of restaurants and shops in operation, as new safety measures will also be in place. And a few people I mentioned or had talked to about this, they're like, oh, great, got to get there while there's not too many people and actually enjoy ourselves, because we know how crowded it can get. Disney World, though, has not announced a reopening date for its theme parks, water parks, or resort hotels. But it's an idea that's there. It's an idea that's there, and it's getting worked on, if you will. It's getting worked on. And with that, one of the other things in lieu of, as we mentioned, that the Universal City Walk had opened up. How was it? Let's see where I had it. Where was it? Enter. Come on, computer device, compute. As we get now 8 minutes before the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and it says here, reopening with new measures as it was come through with the City Walk, as we updated you on that. And it was to the idea of the capacity of 25% for the restaurants and everything else. Now we know with today opening up to 50%, but having the City Walk is a big one, and now talking about Disney Springs on May 20th. These are all those examples of saying, okay, there's things to do, and with the weekends ahead and summertime coming up, it's that good feeling that we can roll with from what we had this weekend, as far as having a little sports back and being able to get out there and do a little bit more. So that's good. And we're going to take a short little break. As we take a short little break, I'm going to regroup, come back, touch on a couple other things, and stay tuned. We'll be coming into the 9 o'clock hour. Rolling with that. I got some fun stuff to chat about. AM Ocala Live, WOCA. And we have our phone lines open, 622-9622. Good morning, everybody. Back after this.
WOCA. Career Source. Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first Wednesday of each month at 9:30 to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
This is Jan from Palm Garden. We hope everyone is holding up during this difficult time. We've all had to make some adjustments to our routines. Some may have loved ones that you can't visit, and I know you want to. Our residents remain our top priority, and they, along with our staff, have been tested just to be on the safe side. We appreciate the job being done by the Department of Health, Florida Emergency Management, and National Guard. We will soon see the light at the end of this tunnel. Thank you for your patience and understanding as we navigate these uncharted waters. We are Palm Garden.
We are proud to announce the Conservative Watch Hour on WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM every Friday at 11 a.m. Hosted by Annie Marie Delgado, President of Trump Team 2020 Florida, and her co-host Ann Vandersteel with SteelTruth.com. We are serving a higher level of excellence, and we are the only program of this type in this market. Don't miss your weekly dose of conservative talk radio. WOCA 11 a.m. Fridays, 96.3 and 1370 a.m.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hi, this is Will.
And this is Wendy of Dex Imaging in Gainesville and Ocala. You know, we live and work in this community just like you, and we wanted to personally invite you to call us with any questions or concerns about your copiers or printers.
Like, how can I save money on my toner? That stuff's expensive.
In most cases, a complimentary workflow analysis has shown we can save your business 20 to 30% on printing cost.
Have you been kicking around the idea of going paperless? Are you considering a document management solution? Maybe you just want to ask some questions, but don't want to be bombarded by aggressive salespeople.
Give us a call. We'll be happy to answer your questions and show you how you can save money with our award-winning copiers and printers and our amazing service team.
Who, in case you didn't know, will be there in 4 hours or less to service your machine guaranteed, and we have a 97% first-time fix rate. Check us out at deximaging.com or give us a call.
In Ocala, dial 352-433-4090. That's 433-4090.
And you're listening to AIM Ocala Live, WOCA, the source, 3 minutes before the top of the 9 o'clock hours. We were mentioning before the break there just more about the theme parks. Governor DeSantis' theme parks can submit plans as they work towards the reopening. As Florida takes additional steps in reopening, as Governor DeSantis says that theme parks can begin submitting their reopening plans to the state. As we just mentioned, some of the wherewithal that the Disney World is doing in lieu of the employees and their union. As DeSantis said, the plan should include an estimated reopening date as well as safety measures that they intend to implement, as saying that, quote, they should identify the date certain that they believe that they can resume safe operations. As DeSantis said during a news brief in Jacksonville, is they provided how they're going to do it, how they're going to accommodate guests, how they're going to protect the staff. As DeSantis added that the parks would then need to get an endorsement from a relevant government official in their locality. Disney World, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld have been working with Orange County officials in the weeks following their closure since mid-March. The parks have been also surveying visitors about potential new measures and their plans to return. It's unclear what effect, if any, the process of submitting plans to the state will have on the timeline for reopening the theme parks. So, as we said, it's the idea there. It's unclear, but working on it. Under DeSantis' current planning for reopening, theme parks would be allowed to reopen in a limited capacity in Phase 2. Universal City Walk, which reopened on Thursday with just a few restaurants and shops. Meanwhile, Disney Springs, like we said, will begin its phase reopening on the 20th, and restaurants and stores at both locations have limited capacity. However, according to the full Phase 1, DeSantis announced Friday restaurants and stores will be able to increase capacity from 25% to 50%. Welcome. Welcome to the beginning of the resurgence. Awesome. Coming up on our break now, 9 o'clock, WOCA The Source, WOCA Ocala, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. Stay tuned. More good show for you. More good show. More good local radio show. All good stuff. We'll be back after this.
News. I'm Chris Foster. A member of the Trump administration blames the Federal Centers for Disease Control for the late start on coronavirus testing.
White House Trade Advisor Peter Navarro told NBC's Meet the Press.
Not only did they keep the testing within the bureaucracy, they had a bad test, and that did set us back.